it's requiring young people to have skills or to be future-proofed. And what Jobs for Billions stands for is future-proofing our graduate and the need population in the country, and making sure that we bridge the gap between them and the employers and the industry that so needs the skill sets. And we hope that through our collaborations and our partners, we would be able to achieve this. We are still looking for more partners and looking for more collaborations, and we do allude to other partners and other collaborators to reach out and to collaborate with us so that we can tackle these pressing challenges in our country in terms of creating employment. We look forward to hosting you today and throughout the summit, but most importantly, it's the afterwards. What is it that we are going to do together in making sure that we future-proof our graduates and making sure that they get the necessary support and development for the skills that are required by the employers, and forging those relationships between academia and employers in making sure that we produce and we train for purpose.
What up everyone, my name is Thandi Caroline, and I am coming to you to let you know that on the 9th to the 11th of October, we are having the Advancing Future Science right here in SMU. And
graduates, you don't need to despair. You just need to know where information is. And you also need to know how to plug yourself with the right organizations that can give the opportunities. Now, an opportunity can be found, an opportunity doesn't come. So be on social media, Instagram, Facebook, we are all there. We post opportunities. We have this opportunity, we have that opportunity. You can never, you have to try. You have to try. When you look posters, don't just think, no, it's not for me. There is no such a thing. We don't have anything that says the special people. We receive the applications, we go through the applications, we choose the people, we send you out for interviews. You are the one who will decide whether you get a job or not. And that is why this work readiness is so important. Because we are preparing you that once we have plugged you.
It's an interesting interview, right? Did you guys eat? Did you guys eat? Lisho? Are you full? Ungat, you are still hungry, guys. Kimang waring no. Nina, you want pap? Nifuna, you want pap, right? In future, next time we'll prepare some papiana. All right, guys, so in this next segment, right, we're gonna just watch a brief video of, a clip rather, of what was happening this past weekend. So those of you who unfortunately were not able to be there in person, now you can get an idea of what others were doing, take some notes, and then I'm sure we're gonna show some clips of those that were there. So what I want you guys to do is that after this, go and grab them and ask them a few questions about the session. How was it? What did you learn? I hear some commotion on this side. May we kindly just keep it down a little bit? And, let's be here. Let's be here, thank you. So we're just gonna go through the weekend, a recap on what happened this weekend, and thereafter, we're going to be joined by another amazing set of panelists. But before we do that, we have a very important person that wants to come and just give us a speech of support. And I'll introduce him in due time. So at the moment, please call your colleagues, call your friends, those that went out for lunch and decided, you know what, this food is too nice, let me take a nap. Tell them, hey, Chomi, wake up. We are back on so that we can go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet with all of you. I'm Professor Larry Obi. I'm the Dean of the School of Science and Technology at Sefako Makato Health Sciences University in Pretoria. No, thank you. That's in fact a very good question, and that was what even informed, one of the initiatives to establish the School of Science and Technology. because the vision of the school is to make sure that we produce well-trained, adaptable scientists and technologists who can key into the future of work, especially against the backdrop of the fourth industrial revolution. And we see the vision of the 4 billion initiative to be consistent with this, because ultimately we're looking at capacitating, our graduates, and capacitation also means creating employment opportunities, not just white-collar jobs, but imbuing them with the spirit of entrepreneurship, so that they're entrepreneurial in nature. They too will be job creators. So we will be partnering with the organization to make sure that this vision is realized. Yeah, thank you. You see, one thing we should understand is that the momentum of modern development in society is predicated on science and technology. Whatever we do are offshoots of science and technology. So keying into the 4 billion job opportunities, training future scientists, I think it is very important so that we are able to have well-trained future scientists that are able to man our scientific endeavors. And when we talk of technology, there is no technology without science, because technology is science in action, And the overlap between science and technology is research. So when we talk of research, we also talk of commercialization. So there is an intricate web of relationship existing between science, technology, commercialization, and innovation. So they all go together. So in other words, we really embrace the initiative of the 4 billion job, because it will actually broaden the horizon of knowledge of our students to innovation, thinking outside the box, making them to cultivate entrepreneurial skills, imbuing in them workplace etiquettes, how to confront the vicissitudes of the workplace, emotional intelligence, and so on. Because technology on its own is not a standalone issue. Technology is coupled to soft skills, and these soft skills are very important. And that is why even in our graduate attributes, we emphasize soft skills, adaptability, transparency, honesty, and so on. And that is one of the issues that I thought I should foreground in this particular aspect, because even in our curriculum, we are trying to introduce, entrepreneurial skills, innovation, even at undergraduate level, so that by the time they grow into postgrads, they are very conversant with all these narratives. In science, we study science, but if science is not beneficial to society, then the science is redundant. The beneficial aspect of society, or the application of science that will be beneficial to society, is what technology is all about. In the next 10 years, we want to pride ourselves as being one of the leading schools of science and technology, not only in the country, but on the continent. And I think with this type of partnership, and with the partnership involving Standard Bank and Liberty, we'll be able to get there. Our students are inherently intelligent, inherently hardworking, inherently focused, but some of the drawbacks are linked to finances and the fear of employability after graduation. And these are some of the issues that the partnerships seek to address. And so we're highly gladdened by this development.
I'm Professor Miki Apani, the HOD for Mathematics and Applied Mathematics at Sfaka Health Science University. The career fair was introduced in 2020, where the department invited companies that appoint the BSc graduate for them to come and explain their job description, their internship to our graduate, so that they can have an opportunity to go and apply to the companies, and also to avoid the stigma of BSc being a ladder step to the health sciences department. So in case, in 2021, we introduced the online, we applied for 2 companies to come and give the career fair to our students, and then after that, it was now extended to the mathematical cluster involving the stats department and the computer science department, and then it was now extended to the school, where we had a very big event this year in 2024, where 23 companies were invited to come and explain and provide our students with the internship. So this is how we gave birth to the 3-day summit, because the startup company now said they cannot be part of the career fair, but what they can do, they can have their 3-day summit. This is how we gave birth to the 3-day summit. This is going to allow our students, our graduates, to have an opportunity to engage with more companies than having a career fair. Thank you very much. # we are SMU. To engage one-on-one with the companies, for them to have an experience of a contact with the employees, the bigger companies that specifically appoint our BSc graduates. Not only the appointment of graduates, but also a further and a lifetime collaboration of an institution with private companies. Because without them, without us knowing what they want from us, we will not be able to produce the graduates that are ready for industry. The introduction of the BSc in Actuarial Science will also be a big benefit for the university, for the department, and also for the industries. As you know that we only offer BSc in Mathematics and also BSc in Applied Mathematics. So this Job for Billion has also given birth to the very good program that is in demand, which is BSc in Actuarial Science. We are looking forward to the boot camp, which is on the 28th and the 29th of September, where they will be training our students, preparing our students to come and meet the big companies from the 9th to the 11th of October 2024. # 3-day summit SMU. Thank you.
Ne? Akuuti. We can't hear you. Are the men sitting in that side? Hey, Zungu, what are you guys saying? Oh, okay. Here, are you guys ready? That is much better. Guys, they can't beat you, right? Are you guys ready? Woo! What about this side? Okay, let me combine you guys with the rest of them. Are you guys ready? They take the bag. They take the bag. So right, what we're gonna do right now is that we've taken some pictures during lunch. We've taken some pictures yesterday. If you haven't taken a picture, we're gonna stand up right now, and I want you to run anyone. So those of you who had crushes and they're here, run to them like, oh, let's take a selfie together. I'm plugging you also. We're not just plugging you with jobs. Hopefully you'll find your future partner here as well. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take pictures, and then we are going to post on Instagram. And those of you who like posting stories on TikTok, we can also post on TikTok. So you're gonna have our QR code displayed on the various screens that are there, so you can walk up right and scan the QR code and follow. And then I'm gonna share the hashtags with you. DJ, in the meantime, please give us some music as we take selfies. And just like yesterday, you can come on right up, take a selfie on the stage. Let's take selfies together. So there were some of you that asked to take pictures with me. This is your time. Industry. Hashtag we are SMU. And this one is one that we started this past weekend. It is hashtag SMU SST. Now you guys got the hashtags? Let's follow, hit those subscribe buttons, hit those connect buttons. We sent you guys the links on our WhatsApp channel, our WhatsApp page. Hit those connect buttons, connect with us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and without further ado, I think we can go ahead and start with this session, right? We're done taking pictures. All right. So, shame. I'm Persil Gapa. I'm Persil Gapa. Those of you who don't want to take pictures, post on LinkedIn. You must show. Hey, don't post me. Post yourselves. You must show Niti. Thrilled to be at Jobs for Billion. What an amazing initiative. You must post on LinkedIn. So take pictures of yourself. Take pictures of yourself. So I would like to introduce our next speaker. And They are from an organization that is a partner with the Jobs for Billion initiative. The reason why you and I are here today, right? I think Standard Bank Liberty Group really played a crucial part in ensuring that we come to this event, we learn what we are learning, we go back home with the knowledge that we're going back home with. But before we do so, as we mentioned earlier on, that we have His Excellency in our presence, right? And as vana va Afrika nga Tshivenda savana va milayo. Ri ita mini? Ri sumbedza milayo uri ri a divhalea. So what I would like us to do, as His Excellency does come in and join us in this initiative, guys, you guys are strong. Even His Excellency decided to join us. I'd like us to just rise on our feet and welcome him the proper way, the respectful way. Thank you. And I would like us to give our, as I introduce him, of course, our warm applause to the head of client marketing at the Liberty Standard Bank Group. As I've mentioned before, they played an extremely crucial role in ensuring that we all get this opportunity that we are having right here. And I think for an organization to come and play such an important role, it is important that we notice them. He's going to give us a support speech and just show him in your applaud how grateful we are to have them be part of us and for giving us this wonderful opportunity. Mr. But I see the students are excited. Mr. Robert Soga. Thank you very much, sir.
Can you hear me? Cool. Thanks, Thandi. At least I can remember your name. As she said, my name is Robert Tsoka. I'm from Liberty, part of Standard Bank Group. I think first things first, let me acknowledge His Excellency Kgosi Philane, our senior and elder in the house. I think it's important for those protocols, and also acknowledging the senior executive of the university and all the strategic partners that we have today in the house who are also collaborating with us in this initiative. But also acknowledging the future of the country in the house, the youth. Thank you. I think from my point of view, the future is in the hands of all of you in the house, to be quite honest. Our jobs as elders and seniors is to facilitate and make sure that we create opportunities for you guys to thrive. That's what we do. So I'm part of Standard Bank Group, Liberty, 100% owned by the bank. I'm sure you've seen in the media 2 years ago. And my role, it's a simple one. I work with my colleague here, whom you might have met already, Sidwell. Is the guy who's driving all our partnerships, as well as Ufenze, and the events team is in the house. And also thanking everyone who has been working hard, the organizers and everybody, to really bring this great event to life. Obviously, as a long-term insurance company, we've been supporting education for quite some time, and I'm just going to remind you of few initiatives. I know some of you guys might not remember, but there's one thing that you'll remember. There's a gentleman by the name of William Smith, the late William Smith. I'm sure you've seen recently. I think in the past sort of 2-3 decades, in those times when we didn't really have the power of AI, he was on TV teaching maths students and across the country, particularly supporting the previously disadvantaged. And I think as a brand, we partnered with him, we journeyed with him for far too long until his passing. So we were sponsoring his program on around maths on SABC. I can't remember the channel, whether it was SABC 3. So we've been really, as a brand, we are synonymous with education. And we're also sponsoring some of the initiatives around, actuarial society, because in the insurance space, we're working with, people with smart brains that also studied maths and also helping us to really make sense of our business and the numbers. And I was told by Thandi earlier on that, you guys, the students across the board, you've got those that are still studying, you've got those that have, with undergraduate degrees, you've got those that are now doing their postgraduate. Education is important from Liberty's standpoint, and that's why we're spending millions every year. If you look in the media, you'll see that we're really, really sponsoring a lot of money. And sometimes we even go grassroots level to make sure that the foundation is solid. Because by doing so, I think we believe we're building a knowledge economy for the country. And if you've got educated youth, it means your future is bright. On the other side, if you look at our purpose, the reasons why Liberty exists, we're saying that we improve people's lives by enabling their financial freedom. That's the reason why the business exists. And that is our purpose, and we express it through our brand positioning called In It With You. So besides the education that we're doing, we really want to take away the pressure from government when someone passes away. We make sure that there's enough financial security so that those ones that are left behind can really continue to thrive as the parent or the breadwinner might have envisaged. So that's what we do. That's the first thing. But on the other side, we also make sure, because, we are humans, people get exposed to, risk events, whether you become disabled, whether you lose your job, and we need to make sure that we secure your income and we make sure that any health-related costs are covered by us. So at the higher level, the insurance industry plays a critical role in protecting people's lives, and that's who we are and that's what we do. And we want to make sure as youth that we also, over and above supporting education and encouraging you to study, is to make sure that you understand the value of insurance. Because if you don't do it, if you don't protect your income, you get retrenched, then it becomes a problem. Or if you get involved in a car accident, then those that you leave behind really are going to struggle. So I'm mighty proud to be here. And Sidwell asked me when I joined in. I did not prepare a speech, and I'm speaking from the heart. And I said, fine, I think let me just acknowledge the people in the house, because without you guys, there's no event. And without you guys or clients or partners, our brand is not going to be there. So, yeah, and we journey with clients across different age groups, from selling simple products like funeral cover to sophisticated solutions, whether it's about wealth creation as a young person, you want to start a new business and you need some guidance. In the house, I think we do have our financial advisors and the wealth managers outside that can have a proper conversations without you paying a cent. because having a financial advisor on your side for us is very important, just so that you understand where you're at and they can really draw up realistic needs analysis in terms of your aspirations, your goals, and really to coach you to be on the right footing when it comes to solid financial planning. That's who we are and that's what we stand for, because financial advice is actually important for the industry, it's important for the country. And insurance by nature is transformative. It transforms lives. So from our side, I'm quite privileged and to be partnering with everybody has been working with us and partnering with you guys to journey with you. The youth is the future market. If you look at the industry, most people with an insurance cover is more the mature side of the market, the older age. But you guys need to understand it from the start so that by the time you start that new business, you need to make sure that it's secure. If anything happens, you can still leave a legacy and your business can continue. Because I know, and I'm looking around and I've been talking to a few people here, there's a lot of hustlers. We encourage you to continue. If you look at other countries in the world, over 70% of the economy is driven by SMMEs. And here in South Africa, even though we do have corporates like ourselves, but small businesses are the ones that are carrying this country in terms of employment, in terms of many things that are happening. As a commitment from Liberty Brand, we really want to partner with you guys. And I was also talking to Ofenze earlier on that we probably need to introduce you to things that we do, even though you might not be earning an income at the moment. But as you continue living your life, you can start a little bit of savings. We call it the Stash investment platform. It's very easy. You go on Google, you search for it, you subscribe. As you go on with your life, it rounds up your spare change. And you start saving from that without really breaking the bank. Whether it rounds up 5 Rand as you swap, you do all the stuff. By the time you check, you've got 30,000 Rand, voila. So those are some of the cool stuff that we do as a brand to make sure that we can engage with people like you, because the traditional way of investment is not easy. You need to have a significant income, but we want to make sure, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen some of the work we've done around Secure the Bag, where we're partnering with the likes of Casper Nyovest and so on. We want to make sure that we engage the youth through their passion points, the things that really matter to you, without really doing the hard sale and so on. So in our books, we do have a lot of young people. They value the products that we do, and it's quite meaningful to really watch and really see how such products really empower them. So from our side, Sidwell, thank you for giving me stage to talk and also to acknowledge everybody here, our partners, the university itself. It was such a drive to come here, and I haven't been this side of the town, but I'm so happy, and all the best for the rest of the event tomorrow. From Liberty side, we remain truly in it with you. Thank you, Thandi.
Thank you so much, sir. May you please give Mr. Tsuka a well-deserved round of applause. And I love what he said. He said that what they want to do is to ensure that they engage with us as the youth through our passion points, right? And that's exactly what they're doing, and it's so magnificent. And we have another organization that has partnered with us, and what they want to do, their mission is to ensure that students have affordable and inclusive internet access. And I am talking about the FIO Connect SIM card. Most of you have already gotten the SIM card. How many of you have gotten the SIM card? Ooh, ring network is wrong. It's nice, ne? It's nice, ne? We won't be seeing on the group, how's come? Internet here is not working. Now you can finish those assignments and attend those online classes without any disturbance, right? And now the beauty about Fire Connect, those of you who have not gone to their tent, as we wrap up here, please go to them, get your SIM card. They're introducing an eSIM in the next 2 weeks. So you're gonna have that eSIM, you know, be that girl, what internet, what electronics, right? And the one thing that I love about them is that they give us so much options. Now you can choose whether you want non-expiry data or if you want expiry data. So if you just want data for the next 2 days, buy your data for the next 2 days. Not this thing of saying, I'm buying 1 gig for 30 days. Jiggy jiggy, it's been 5 minutes. You have run out of data. Haibo, what do you mean? This was planned to be for the month, right? And that's the beauty about Fire. You can choose whatever you want. It's accessible. I mean, I saw the prices, 45 rands for 1 gig. That's a lot. And the beauty of it is that those of you who are into entrepreneurship and you don't know what to do, but you want to make some money, and you don't know, oh, what can I sell? How can I make more money? They have a beautiful opportunity for you guys because you can become a connector. Now, what a connector does is that you download the Fire app. They're going to show you and take you through it. And what you can do when people like me want some data, wants to buy data or airtime, I can come to you and be like, hey, I want 1 gig. And instead of buying it for myself for 45 rands, you can sell me 1 gig for 13 rands. 13 rands. Now imagine Wi-Fi is taking, you have to attend online, you only have 15 rands in your bank account. You can run to a Google and be like, Google, help me buy airtime. Now that's, if this is not a solution that we've been crying for as students, then I honestly do not know why. But we are going to move on. And just like yesterday, I know you guys are hungry and ready to ask questions and feed off the wealth of information that our panelists are going to be giving to us. So we're going to move into this session. We're going to have our panelists come up and talk about mentorship. Some of us have been mentors here. In fact, if you are a postgrad, you were forced to become a mentor, right? So some of us have been mentors. Some of us need mentors because we have no idea what we want to do in life. We have no idea how to navigate through our academic journey, and not just academics, but you can also have a mentor that can help you in health, in your physical journey. I actually have mine. There she is over there. My mentor in staying healthy and staying well. Yeah, that's Michelle. Can we please give Michelle Mukwena a round of applause? Why are you shy? Please stand up. Let the crowd see you. Woo! Well, health is wealth, babe. So I'm on my health is wealth journey. So you can have mentors for various stages, various areas of your life. You can have mentors in your scientific studies. And there's someone, I think it was Apani yesterday, who was asking, what happens if I want to collaborate with companies, or I have a patent or an IP that I want to secure, but I don't want to secure it with the institution because what I'm doing or my ideas are not in relation with what the institution has to offer. So someone like that, when you go out there, you will need a mentor to guide you in that industry of life. So don't be afraid. Some of you are wondering, okay, Kiringi, I get to you and then I say, what? Hi, be my mentor. And then what? What happens? So this panelist is going to take us through that. And I'm not going to be facilitating it. A very beautiful lady from the Liberty Standard Bank Group is going to be facilitating this panel. And I was actually laughing with her. You guys will see her as she comes up that we're actually mascots of the organizations that we are representing. Hi, I'm from Sefako Health Sciences University, and that's why I'm wearing my pumpkin suit today. And she's wearing this amazing blue outfit to represent her organization as well. So sometimes when you go into an organization, not even sometimes, when you go into an organization and you're part of it, you must be proud to represent their colors, their values, their mission, and their vision. And that's exactly what she is doing. Ladies and gentlemen, may you please help me welcome Lesego. So Lesego, give a little nanyana for a few minutes. She wants me to be with you guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna open a round of questions just to hear what your expectations are. If my mic person, where are you? If I can just see you on the ground. Mic person, who has the mic? TK, where's our mic? So in the meantime, while TK is taking the mic, what questions do you guys have? What are you expecting? We're talking about mentorship. What are your questions? You know, what do you want to know about? Of course, as the panel comes, they will also answer some of the questions that you guys have. But I just want to, you know, poke your minds and see what you guys are actually thinking right now. So we have a hand over here. You can raise your hand. And we also have Gugu over here. Lady behind, the lady in pink, are you raising your hand? You're not? Are you raising your hand? Are you sure? Because she's not raising, please give her the mic. She must tell us something. I'm just joking. All right, so please just introduce yourself, the field of study that you're in, and what your expectations are for this panel discussion.
Sure. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kukulethu Dlamini. I am an MEC student in the Department of Medical Microbiology. And my expectation, I think mentorship is like a one-on-one thing. So I want to know, you know, what are my responsibilities as a mentee? As much as I'm expecting to be mentored, what do I bring to the table as well? So yeah, that's some of my expectations. Yeah.
What do we bring to the table? Yes, and then we have another hand over there. What are your expectations? Everyone else, you're not expecting anything? You have expectations or you're just shy? You're camera shy? You don't want us to hear your beautiful voice? We also have Zungo over there with a question. You can go ahead, your name, your field of study, and your expectation for this session.
Okay, hi guys, greetings to the house. My name is Arafenze, and today, if I understand properly, I believe today the session was specifically for skills development. So my expectation is to get answers, practical answers, not more so about, oh, these are the programs that are available, what can I do today going forward? Because also I think there's this somewhat of a, okay, just check on the internet, go apply. I want proper practical answers to say, okay, if hopefully one of the panelists could be a mentor and to say, I'm looking for 5 students, I'm looking for 4 students in these sort of fields, not to necessarily direct us to the internet where they can further ignore our applications or tell us about deadlines or you know, such things. So essentially, I'm looking for practical advice that I can apply today.
All right, that's beautiful. So as TK is going to Zungo, I think that's the last question or last expectation that we're going to take before we allow our panelists and our facilitator to come on stage. I just also want to advise whoever that's on this panel, go to them after this session, take their LinkedIn handle, connect with them on LinkedIn, ask them a question and say, hey, you might not be looking for a mentee, but I am here. Take me by force. I want to be your mentee. I want to learn from you, right? Take that opportunity. Don't knock, in fact, break the door down. Okay, but sometimes the doors are unlocked and all you need to do is open it. But if it's not opening, break it down, right? Ask them questions. Zungu, you can go ahead with your expectation for this panel discussion.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mtobi Sizungu. I'm doing my honors in pure mathematics. Okay, what I expect from this panel, I want to pick and understand the advantage of having, or is it important to have different or multiple mentors? Because you know you could be interested in different fields.
Multiple things.
Yes, and I want to also pick up the red flags between the mentor and the mentee that can make that thing to be shaky or not successful. Thank you.
That is beautiful. Now all of you, I love the expectations and I love the questions. That's so amazing. So without further ado, because now I get mentor, without further ado, may we please give a heartily hand of applause to Lesego Poso from the Liberty Standard Bank Group. She's going to be a facilitator, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! outfit. I mean, look at that outfit. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Oh, it's on. Hi. How is everybody today? I know you guys already had like day 1, and today is day 2, and I feel like I got the graveyard shift. Everybody's had lunch. I'm just hoping that you guys are still interested in what we are doing today. Just a quick introduction. My name is Lesego Pusho. I am originally Tswana. I say originally because I'm a Joburg Tswana, so I don't think it really counts. Né? I work for Standard Bank. I look after the external communications, the external communications for insurance and asset management. And I'm here today to facilitate a very important panel, which is around the role of mentorship and career development. So today's session, we are going to be exploring mentorship programs, why they're essential for fostering personal growth, leadership development, and career success for young professionals. I think the lady who recommended me, who is one of my stakeholders for this, recommended me because I actually launched a platform not so long ago, which is around like the empowerment, but also like the practical mentoring and coaching of women of color in terms of like progressing. Just a quick history about myself before I introduce everybody. I started out as a journalist. I think it makes sense that I am now in communications. However, my trajectory has not been what you would assume of a journalist. And if I'm being honest, if somebody came now and said to me, we'd like you to mentor other women or other people to get to where you are, I'm not too sure if I'd know how to do that. I didn't necessarily get practical mentoring myself, and therefore I can only teach what I've seen. And I think today's conversation is going to be very important around formalizing mentorship and coaching, because I think there can be informal mentorship and there can be formalized mentorship. And I think it's very important to know how do you get either one? What's the difference between getting somebody who's just going to coach you? And then also, there's differences between getting somebody who coaches you and mentors you and getting an advocate and a sponsor. And that is somebody who speaks for you, knowing what you've done. So without further ado, let me just introduce some of the speakers. And I hope I've got everybody's name here. So let me start with... let me start with Mthobisi, Mr. Mthobisi Ngwenya. He is from the Department of Labor, and he's going to be talking to us just around choosing your mentor and how to formalize it, or whether you should formalize it. And then we have got Professor Erasmus. No, wait, hold on, sorry. We have got Uyoli Mqoboli. No, we don't. We have got Mr. Patu Moshanganyisi. Did I say it right? And then we've got Fiona Tabraham. She told me that you just pronounce it like Abraham with a T. And just so that you know, Mr. Patu Moshanganyisi, he is the lead programs implementation and knowledge at Pele, Knowledge Pele. All right then. And then we've got Mbombeni Mupe. No. We have Dr. Koketso Rakuru. Dr. Koketso Rakuru is the Group CEO of Koketso Rakuru Foundation. Yes, lovely to meet you. I've met everybody else. Lovely to meet you. Sorry, I met the other speakers offline. And then we've got Mapefo Ano Frempong. Nope, not yet. And then Morongwe Rapasha. Morongwe Rapasha is from ESCOM. Maybe we should split it up. I don't think all the chairs are going to be taken. So if we want to just move closer. And I think that is all our speakers for today. Okay, so I have Onika Mokavuli. Sorry, Onika. And Onika looks after African Global Skills Academy. My apologies. I'm trying to figure out who everybody is. Everybody on stage now? All right. Okay, cool. I am just going to do this so that you're not. Is this okay? All right, I think before we get into the conversation about mentorship, I just wanted to just say that, firstly, I was reading up on the questions and I realized that we are going into how to solve for mentorship and actually not talking about what would be the reasons, what are some of the pain points that we're seeing in solving for this. And just when I started out in high school, when I started out in high school, we won't say how many years ago, but we were meant to choose our subjects based on like the career that you're going to. Now, when I was just looking up some stats, I saw that the World Economic Forum said 65% of Gen Zs and Generation Alpha, they are going to work in roles that currently don't exist. Some of the industries still will. The roles are evolving, and whether it's based on like the digital transformation that is happening, however, perhaps it might be that the working environment and the landscape has changed. And I think what that leaves is just like this gap for, do you know what role you could go into? I think from a health sciences perspective, there were particular jobs that you could go into. But I think as corporates change, there's opportunities for other industries to either enter into those industries or even there might be growth opportunities. Ms. Ntombedi, just from your perspective, you are with the Department of Labor. And I think we'd like to just find out in terms of the importance of mentorship and potentially just like, how do we make sure, and maybe not make sure, but like the formalization of mentorship programs. I think we go into organizations and there's some form of mentoring. What are some of the things that need to take place for mentorship to be formalized? What do people actually need to see happening in those organizations to say, okay, cool, mentorship is really happening here? And then is it really important to always put a label to it? Is it important for me to go up to you and say, hi, Mr. Ntombedi, please mentor me? Or is it just formal, informal? What's your view on that?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. From my experience, mentorship can be formal, but it can also be informal. So if it happens in a formal way, you find that in some organizations would have for example, maybe a structured mentorship program. But if it's in an informal way, you find that you have identified a specific person, maybe whether it linked in, where you engage the person, and then you decide maybe to say, I would like you to be my mentor. I think in the institution, it could be maybe a student has got a professor that inspires him or her, and then can go then and talk to the professor to mentor him or her in certain aspects. But then in terms of identifying a mentor, there are some of the things that you need to be aware of. So you need to identify your goals. What is it that you want to achieve in this relationship? So what is it that you want to achieve? Do you want to go into a career that you see this person maybe role modeling in their own life? Or it could be something maybe you see that this person has got experience in terms of other personal issues wherein the person can actually help you with or provide some kind of advice. And then for you to be able to engage also into these mentorship experiences, you can look within your network, the people that surround you, your lecturers, your friend. Even sometimes I look at my friends, they've got more experience than me, so they can mentor me in certain aspects of my life, And then also professionally, I can identify other people. So for an individual, you can actually have multiple mentors. It doesn't have to be one person. You can have a mentor, for example, for religious or church-related things. You can also have a mentor maybe within your education space or your careers. And then to also identify mentors, you know, there's online platforms as well, like your LinkedIn. You can actually go in there and find people who can actually mentor you. A person can also join professional associations. I know one of this, the person, when they asked about the expectations, said he doesn't want being told to go to the internet to go and search for these organizations. But unfortunately, the internet is a resource center. So we might not be having all the organizations which provide mentorship programs for people in a structured or unstructured way. But the internet is a valuable resource that a person can actually tap into. And also you do get referrals as well, even at work, or it could be within your own space, even at home. Maybe your brother, your mother could have identified somebody that is they see as a good person that can be a mentor. They can refer you to those people. I think I will just end it there for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think I really like the fact that you're just identifying that there's so many ways to be able to identify mentorship opportunities. And it doesn't always have to be that it has to be your manager or somebody who's in the particular career as you, but that if you look around in your network, you look around in your friendships, and maybe in your family, there's somebody who has some experience and perhaps could lead you on the right track. Fiona, I'm just going to come to you. Please, would you mind maybe just telling us a little bit about Capacity and then the work that you do?
Great, thank you. Fabulous to be here. I'm really excited to be able to share a little bit of our story, but also to meet all of you. Capacity is a digital career accelerator, so we exist to get young people, young talent, as we say, into the world of work. We understand that what you get from an education system doesn't always fill all the gaps of knowledge that you need, and it doesn't always give you the experience that you need. And we understand what the world of work is asking of young people. So we say we bridge the gap then between what you come out of education system with and get you ready for the world of work. So the Capacity program is a digital career accelerator, so predominantly in your technology fields. But we also then align a lot of professional development, a lot of supports, psychosocial supports, applied learning, teamwork, practice, feedback, one-to-ones, presentation skills, and a whole range of other things on top of the learning so that you get to actually practice, learn, fail. It's very important to learn to fail. Yeah. Come back, pick yourself up again, try again, and actually get to experience what the world of work is asking for you, so that when you do get that opportunity to sit in front of someone in an interview or to sit in front of someone in a job opportunity or to walk into a job, that you actually then understand what it is that job's asking of you, and you feel that that job is actually right for you and you're prepared for it.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you talk about the gaps. I think, would you mind, I know that we didn't prep for this one, but would you mind maybe talking us, what are some of the gaps that you do see as somebody moves from like tertiary or university into the workplace? Is it soft skills, is it hard skills? And especially at that entry level, what are the skills that are needed at that basic entry level?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that's really, really important for me to make clear to you guys are the future of South Africa. You are the young talent that is going to drive this country forward. So you're going to be setting the story for South Africa in years and years to come. So it's really important for you guys to think of yourselves in a positive way in terms of the talent and the opportunity and what you're going to bring to a company. But we also then know that companies and organizations and people that hire have a very perhaps archaic way of looking at employment. You know, people must conform or have a certain set of skills or a certain way of being, and that might be something that you haven't learned or experienced before. So the gaps are really a lot of time in knowledge, understanding some of the perhaps softer skills, communication skills, how to deal with conflict, how to communicate effectively, how to put your hand up and ask questions, how to ask the right questions at the right time, when to concede, when to push your point, when to take part in an exercise, when to learn. You know, they're very subtle skills, but actually the world of work expects us to move into a job as a complete person, as somebody that actually is going to be productive from day one. And that's not always easy if you've not practiced that.
Thank you so much. I know that when I got into the industry, on my first day, I got there, I'm a journalist, and then they sent me somewhere, and I had my camera in the boot, and I saw a car accident, and I stopped, took photos, went back to the office. They're like, no, we need you to still go to your meeting. So I think, like, I tell that story because we enter the world of work with such a great enthusiasm, but those small, soft skills around time management, accountability, being responsible for the last job that you were given, they're very small things, but they actually are the things that help you progress in your career. Part two, I know that Knowledge Pele also helps in bridging the gaps that Fiona just spoke about. Could you maybe tell us about like the practical ways of bridging some of these gaps?
Cool. Good afternoon, everyone. So in Knowledge Pele, I will talk about it in twofold, right? I'll speak about it as an organization and the programs that we also implement in the vulnerable communities. So for the organization, how we've done that is that we've also opened up the seniors open door policy, you know, and you also embed the KPIs to the senior staff members to also be accountable to paying it forward with the juniors and people who are coming straight from varsity in sharing knowledge and being mentors, right? It's not always direct, as you were saying. Sometimes it's indirect, you know, elevator pitch, having conversation in the kitchen, but in your first 6 months in our organization, you will spend time meeting senior staff, you know, exchanging information, understanding what the broad organization does. So at the beginning of the year, we hired 10 graduates. They came in from various fields, you know, engineering, finance here. And the more they spend time with various leaders, they realize that there are actually much more broader opportunities for them than the ones they were hired for. And then, you know, those rotations within organizations are what we also do. We know that when you come, you have this predefined idea of what employment looks like. And we also very much touch on the soft skills. We are big on soft skills. You know, coming to work on time, leaving on time, you know, how to dress, how to deal with conflict, emotional intelligence. Those are key things that we primarily work with. And then in the community level, we deal with vulnerable communities, right? When you deal with vulnerable communities, you ensure that people are not left behind. Simple things like how to conduct yourself in interviews. It's a big thing, and for people in, you know, middle class, they find it that quite easier for them to, you know, to conduct. But in terms of people in vulnerable communities, just in being able to say, hey, I didn't understand that question. We train as far as that level on our end. And lastly, in corporate, and I think one of the challenges we face with young or graduates that come in is even the inability to even negotiate salaries for black children. I think that's a conversation that doesn't exist. You know, people are stuck in certain places, and you ask them why, and the issues end up, I'm going to leave this job to get a better salary. It's not always the case. So we touch on those soft skills to help you understand, how do I go to my boss and say XYZ equals this? You know, that's exactly where we tap into.
So what I also hear you saying is that while you can prepare people to go into the workforce, it's actually through the actual experience of being there and working through it that some of those skills are just going to come by the practicality of being in the particular environment and job and all of that. But I really do like what you say around, like, mentorship doesn't necessarily stop at mentoring you about how to do the job, but also some of the things that encourage you and motivate you to do the job. And salary is a really important thing. I think growing up in a black household, I didn't know what my dad earned. We don't have those conversations, and maybe it's because we don't have the dinner table. Fiona, you also did it. So it's great. We actually do have to get into there and start learning those skills. And then Annika, you are from the African Global Skills Academy. I wanted to make sure that I got that right. Just around You know, I think we hear the word, and there was a lady who said, you know, we don't want to just hear about like the mentorship programs that exist, but actually, what do I need to know and to be able to identify in myself to know what I need to be growing and where I need mentorship. When we talk about like the word empower, empowering people is usually about giving them the tools that they need, or they have the toolbox, they just don't know where to grab that tool from. So could you maybe tell us a little bit about like African Global Skills Academy, and then also just how do you empower practically some of the people that go through your program?
Okay, so African Global Skills Academy is an institution which is in the development of young people.
Yeah.
And we do that in a lot of ways. We provide skills development in the space of CETA and QCTO accreditation. And we run a number of programs. So I would say we have programs that we call skills development programs, learnership, internship, graduate development programs, candidacy programs, and direct employment programs. So we really like an all-rounder in finding opportunities and empowering young people. So we do that in a number of industries, and those industries cut across a lot of them. But if I look into the health science sector, where we don't actually do the physical training part, because in other fields we actually do the training as well. If I look at everyone who's here, we would be able to empower them through internship programs, graduate development programs, finding them opportunities of employment. Now, when we look into the actual reason we are sitting here when you talk of mentoring, our programs are very much interlinked with mentoring. So from the point when you leave our classes, if you are one of those that are going to be in the class, your facilitator is also developed to mentor you in the training space. When we move you to go into the workplace, because all our programs have an element of the workplace, you are going to be linked to a mentor. So we offer programs from mentoring your mentor as well. So we would have workshop where we sit with the mentors. We'll take the mentors through what is it that the young person is coming to do into the workplace, because we have those who need to actually get the experience to get their degrees or diplomas. So they need to fulfill certain things. So there are what we call logbooks and so on, which they then need to, we must make sure that by the end period of that mentoring, they are able to get their degrees. And then we have those that are going in terms of internships and graduate programs, where you realize that you are pairing them with a mentor to support them to be fully integrated into employment, so that we can see how they are progressing. When we do those kind of programs, we have what we call quarterly mentoring reports, where the mentor has to provide us a report in terms of how is this young person doing. If I'm coming in and I'm being put into the department of, for argument's sake, into HR, and I'm learning to be an HR manager, am I getting the right skills that would allow me to actually practice? So we then also do what we call visits as an institution to go and meet the mentors to check how is this person progressing, and then also where we find that maybe there's a clash between that particular person that has been tasked to mentor, that's where we intervene, and sometimes we have to change mentors. So that is really how our programs have really helped a lot. But in my own space, being the entrepreneur, I've done a lot of mentoring beyond students. So I've mentored those that are coming into work, all the way to those that have started their own business. So, you know, mentoring is at various levels. And I think my colleague was saying that to say, and at particular levels, you might then need a different mentor to support where you are in terms of your own career. Thank you. Yeah.
I love the fact, thank you, yes. I love the fact that you are building a cyclical kind of machine where it's feeding into each other. You're not necessarily just getting the mentorship, but there's some responsibility that is on you to then take the tools and be able to give them to the next person.
Yeah.
And I think as you then progress, you need different things.
Yes.
And that brings me to Dr. Rakudu. Am I saying that correctly? Thank you so much. You are specifically around empowering women. I think we know that here, well, your organization that is. We know that here, not necessarily just in South Africa, I think there's a huge disparity, right? When you look at many organizations, you see that it then gets filled up with a lot of women at the bottom of the layer. But as you go up, you start to see less and less women. We get the stats from tertiaries. We're seeing that there's more women who are studying towards their professional qualifications, but it's not translating to the top of the tower in organizations and corporates. Firstly, can we talk about what do you think are just some of the obstacles that are keeping women, and we're talking about the educated woman, the woman who has the qualification, can do the job. What is keeping her from not climbing up as her male counterpart?
Okay, thank you so much. And then allow me to answer it from my perspective, because I'm also serving as the chief of the Royal Bafokeng Nation in the Northwest Province. So as the chief of the community, I've got a mandate to also support programs that speaks about the women empowerment.
Yeah.
This is my 10th year now, serving as the chief, and in the process, that's how I did my PhD in educational psychology. I'm doing my second PhD in public administration. But I need to get into, okay. Thank you. So as Royal Bafokeng Nation, we've got a Vision 2035 of really positioning our communities to be relevant and innovative traditional community in a changing world. And we cannot do that without having the role of women empowerment within our program. I launched the program 10 years ago after I was appointed as the chief. I launched a program called Coffee with Dr. Koketso Rakudu. So Coffee with Dr. Koketso Rakudu, it's a program where I only sit every year with the first year students and the last year students within the Royal Bafokeng Nation space or communities. And we have a similar conference like this, and we sit down and they share their views in terms of what do they think we should support them, and how can we support them as traditional leaders, because also being a chief also gives you an advantage to sit on various boards of the mines, to also, as we develop the SLP programs, then we need to include, the programs that speaks to empowerment, not only looking at women, but the holistic development. But my passion is into education, and I think that's why I was also appointed as the patron for South African Royal Development, which support the National House of Traditional Leaders, mainly to promote the literacy, within the tribal authorities. So to answer your question, we sit with the first year students and the last year students, and they get to tell us really what do they think we could do to improve. So going back to Coffee, I use Coffee as the model to assist us to also develop programs that are relevant to women. So the C in the Coffee stands for creativity. Yes, you could be studying medicine here, but what are other creative aspects that you can look at besides being in the hospital and practicing, or being a medical officer? Because there are other holistic program that you can initiate as a medical student. There's one student now who's been mentored by Professor Mokhatle from the very same university here, who is developing a system that assists, elderly people to take their medication at night. So those are kind of initiatives that we are trying to encourage and instill within our young professionals, especially within the health sector, to say you don't have to go and work at Steve Biko Hospital after here. You can actually, initiate your own programs and come, and we will support you as traditional leaders to say how do we build on on that. So once we have explored the C, which is the creative part, we go to the O, which is the second level, the opportunities that comes from identify the creative space and the aspect that we are in. We look at the opportunities. What are some of the tangible programs that we can, and necessary support that we can give to our young graduates for them to be able to flourish in the work that they do. Right? And then when we move to the F now, we look at the fruitful of it, right? To say, is this going to be fruitful in what? Is it going to be relevant in what we're trying to do within our community setup? So I can go on and on about Kofi, but it's a 12-month program that speaks mainly where I sit with the first year students and the final year students, and they assist us to develop policies that really speaks to the needs of what they are going through as the young graduates.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to make sure, is it Chief Doctor or Dr. Chief?
I normally classify myself as the chief.
Oh!
So that's how I identify myself as a
Thank
traditional
you.
leader. All these titles that don't really matter. What matters is I am the chief, and that's my identity.
Thank you.
And I think that's one thing that we need to understand, especially as young professionals. You don't have to lose your identity because
Yeah.
of the profession that you are in. I
Yeah.
could be a doctor, could be holding a PhD. Yes, that's okay. But before that, I'm the chief, and that assists me to have my own signature voice. Even in the spaces that I work in, I don't look at their professors or doctors. Yes, they are there, but I have found my own signature voice. I am from the rural areas. I am a graduate from rural areas, but the most important thing is I am the chief, and that's how I identify myself. And I prefer people call me Khosana, because Khosana is in Setswana, it's Khosana, in English it's the chief.
Khosana.
So even after here, I don't expect people to be calling me doctor, but I expect people to call me Khosana, because that's how I've identified myself as the young professional. Thank you.
And I think beyond identifying yourself that way, that is who you are. So, Khosana, I will put some respect on your name.
Thank you.
I think what I heard you talk about right now, just in terms of what you do, there's a creating awareness of not being boxed up, in that whatever qualification you leave here with doesn't necessarily mean that you're only boxed up to a particular career. You can use your skills, and I think that's where the world is going. It's not necessarily going to be about qualification, it's about how can you apply your qualifications. But also, I just want to expand on what Ausonika was talking about earlier on, just around being able to go back and see and measure whether the mentorship is happening. And I'm going to come here to Asmorongwe to talk about ESCOM in terms of growing emerging leadership in that space, but then also when we do formalize mentorships, what are some of the things that need to go into place so that you can measure the success, whether it's the success rate or the success of it? Do you then is there a point of making sure that managers, it's incorporated in their KPIs? Is it about seeing more women go through the ranks? Is it about in 5 years' time, we need to see this many leaders who are this many? How do you think about it at ESCOM, and how do you incorporate and implement it?
All right, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Now that you all have electricity, I can come
yes.
in areas like this. All right, so I'm going to answer this in two ways. Me in my own personal space, and then in an ESCOM setup. So in ESCOM, obviously, we are guided by the policies, we are guided by the procedures in terms of how we do mentorship. And then you get contracted at a certain level, like I'm the general manager at Krill Power Station. So I get a contracted to say, these are your KPIs in terms of looking after this person. And how we measure it, I always say mentorship starts from a mentee having a certain vision and a certain goal. And that's where it starts. Because it makes it easy for me as a mentor to be able to say, how do I then help this person to move from here to where they need to go?
Yeah.
That's one. So After that, in ESCOM, we have assessment tools. I know I've got my friend there, Monet, he does a lot of assessment tools as well, just so that we can understand your strengths, your weaknesses, before we can even talk about, mentorship. And then we take it from there to say, okay, what is it that you need? If you need certain courses, practical negotiation skills, depending on where you want to go, looking at financial literacy, looking at all the things that you need. We put them in a basket and say, okay, as a first measure, when you complete this, I get a tick as a mentor, right? The next step will be, how do we then expose this person to the role or position they want to be, all right? So we have what we call shadowing, where your mentee will go and shadow the role that they want to be. And once I'm comfortable to say, and we test you in a lot of platforms, we either give you a presentation to do, we ask you to lead that department for a day or two or a week, just so that we can see how you actually function. And then if we're comfortable, because we sit down, we assess you, if we're comfortable, we tick that box. We don't end it there. Then we say, okay, is there what we call talent management, as we call it? Is there now a position available in that role? Because now this person is ready, we've mentored the person, they have reached that level that we actually want them to reach. When that position comes, you apply, we prep you for interviews, and then you get the position. It's a tick for me as a mentor. So those are some of the measures that we actually put in place. I've got a daughter. You see, I do mentorship on a continuous basis. I've got a daughter here with me who saw the gap actually, that we actually start mentoring at a late stage. We should be starting mentoring kids from 14, 15, 16 before they even choose the careers. And then she came up with something called Step Into My World, which should be launching. So what happens is that I'm a Mac-Eng. If you want to be a Mac-Eng, you come work with me for a week, so that you have an understanding of this is what is going to happen in my life. And then you can go make a decision to say, is this what I want or not? Before you even choose a career, because by the time you get into a career, it's too late. You are there, and we find people that are not happy in their careers because you chose something that is not aligned to your talents, to who you are. And then it becomes a problem in the organization. And there's one thing that I just want to say. If your talents and your inner self is not aligned to your career, you are going to work for the rest of your life.
Here, there's some points that I heard you say that I just want to just round up. I think you're talking about a point of accountability for the mentee as well. You can't just step up to somebody asking them to mentor you if you don't know where you're going. You need to know what your destination is. And I think there's a sense of responsibility there as well with the strength. And then there's the knowing of strengths and weaknesses. I think that can always be like somewhat of a tough conversation to hear. Because if you think about it, some of your weaknesses lie in your strengths. Your confidence can turn into arrogance, things like that. And then also being able to ask for feedback and also receive that feedback. And then I really do like the fact that there is a measure of progression. It's not necessarily just mentoring for mentor's sake, just to take a particular box there. I didn't introduce our last speaker, Uyoli Mqoboli. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
So proud of myself. And Uyoli is from eSunguti. Would you mind, Uyoli, just telling us a little bit about Sunguti, and then also just how you guys utilize mentorship programs to support career growth in industries like consulting and also navigating the corporate structures?
Okay. Good afternoon to my esteemed panelists and to you, the hosts, and to everybody here. So Sunguti Business Solutions is a consulting company in rewards and remuneration, So when I came in, I heard a question around how do you know how much to ask for in an interview? So I'm the person you need to speak to in order to get that answer.
I'm coming to you.
Yeah, so a very niche market and very niche study under HR. And one of the ways in which we try to bring mentorship, especially aligned with career growth, is two ways. I make sure that we use our influence as one of the very few black reward specialists in the country, in industry associations that allow us to be a part of that. So we have, through the Association for Reward Professionals, came up with a mentorship program to usher in individuals into the profession, but also within the consulting space, and this is through the influence that we have on our clients. We realize that there is a gap in which young people do not have exposure into these organizations and corporates. So what we do is actually structure development programs that are geared towards exposing underprivileged and historically disadvantaged individuals into the consulting firm, into the consulting clients that we have. Now, do keep in mind that I do agree that mentorship is driven from the mentee themselves. So what you generally would require is the person to first ask. Let's not fake it until we make it. Let's try to face it until we make it. Very important that you face it, you go through the learnings and the failure, and you fail forward. When you fake it until you make it, one then is not able to pick up any developmental gaps because you're always masking them on. So we work from the individual themselves putting up their hand and actually saying, I want exposure to the following either technical or non-technical areas, because I think the approach it should be different. If you're looking at mentorship, very different concept to coaching, which is sometimes what people don't really understand, that coaching is much more formalized and technical. It's really geared towards you attaining certain skill set, and you can be measured against how you've done, you know, in terms of your learning and your growth. Whereas mentorship is really about, if there's an experienced person who is in the field that you would like to go into, you can then approach them to give you a more personalized approach into how to enter that field or how to master that field. So very important that through the different channels that I've just spoken about, through the association and also through our consulting clients, we have then been able to either channel some of these developmental gaps, which either are technical or are sort of very softer skilled. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. It's not always easy because you know, time is of the essence, and I think a lot of us don't have the time to kind of give back.
Yeah.
But we say at least commit 1 hour a month towards these conversations, and then follow them up with very casual communication channels like WhatsApp, email, etc.
Thank you so much. That is very interesting. I'll be coming to you to help me. Is my boss in the room? No, my boss is not in the room. I'll be coming to you to help me negotiate my salary.
No, you should. You should.
I just want us to go one round again, and then maybe we'll take a few questions if time permits. But I think I just wanted us to, just picking up on like some of the things that you spoke about, I want to correct myself. Uputimtobi Singwenya. Thank you. So Uputimtobi Singwenya is from the Labor Department, right? I think I'd like to understand, how does the Labor Department partner with the private sector? I know this is off the curve, but just thinking about, how does public partner with private to make sure that the deliverables of progressing young people in organizations, is there like a way in which you go into these organizations and help them out, or is it maybe just even from an advisory perspective?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I come from a section called Public Employment Services. So public employment services, what we do, we've got specifically 4 indicators. That is work seeker services. So work seeker services, this is where we go out to communities. We've got what we call is an ESSA form. They complete the ESSA form, those that are looking for employment or those that are underemployed. We take the form, we bring it back to our labor centers, we capture them on the system. So we've got an ESSA system. And then we've got also employer services. So under employer services, we've got employment service practitioners. So the employment service practitioners, they go out to different organizations, different stakeholders, try to source work and learning opportunities. For example, an ESP2, we call them ESP2s from Garangua Labor Center, would go to BM, engage with the HR so that they can source opportunities and then go back to the database and find suitable people with meet whatever particular criteria. So if an employer has got an admin job, we can actually help them to find suitable candidates. Then we've also got employment counseling. So with employment counseling, we deal with issues of work readiness, work ethics. So we assist work seekers whenever they have an interview. They can actually visit our labor center, then the career counselor will assist them to actually prepare for those interviews. And then in terms of placement services, that's where now we get the feedback after those particular individuals have been employed. So we work with a variety of individuals as well, but internally as well. Recently, we've appointed interns under our chief directorate, wherein we give them a contract. It could be 24 months, it could be 8 months, or it could be 1 year, depending on the availability of the funds. So we don't only go out to source opportunities as well, but we also try to create opportunities internally as well. So it's not only under public employment services where we've got interns, even other sections as well, they do employ the interns. Then we assign them to a supervisor or a mentor who will then teach them what they are doing on a daily basis. So they will practically be working with them, reporting to that particular individual. Then they get the skill. Then if they are lucky, but they're also allowed to apply for opportunities which are within the Department of Labor. The challenge mostly that we face, it's resistance to partner with the department. And it's so amazing because our services are for free. You know, we've even got a psychometric tool that we use. It's called Speaks. It's a free tool that organizations can actually tap into, which will then give them in terms of the personality, whether the person will fit the role and all those things. So it's a full psychometric test. But the resistance that we sometimes get when we knock on the doors. So, but going forward, what I would like to see is for organizations to actually partner with us, because we don't charge anything. You know, if you come to us, you request our services for free. Even for other, not only PEST services, but for UIF, for inspectorate, it's free services. If only the private sector can be open, you know, and welcome to our services, then we partner with them. But we've also got labor activation programs. USIS Onika is one of the service providers there. So with the labor activation programs, normally an entity would apply for funding. They would indicate that I would like to train work seekers on this particular skill. Then there's a process that they have to undergo under the UIF. Then once they've signed the contract to say, we've done due diligence and all the checks, then we are giving you the money. Then they come back to us as public employment services. Then we go to our database to tap and check whether we can find people that actually meet that particular criteria. So I would also urge the youth that is within this room to visit our labor centers. We've got 26 labor centers nationwide. We've got a labor center just around the Garangua, opposite the Garangua Magistrates Court or the Home Affairs Office. There's also another one in Soshanguve. There's another one in Pretoria. So we try to cover all the areas. So whenever there are events, we avail ourselves. So that's how we actually partner with the different stakeholders from our side.
Thank you. That was a nice elevator pitch. I see that you've got it on hand. You were like, psh. Top talking points. I would, Patu, I think I want to, practically, I have now identified who I want to mentor me. I get it. We are saying that there's some responsibility that lies with the mentee. I've identified the person that I want to mentor me. I have communicated that I'd like them to mentor me, and they put an hour in my calendar. What is my preparation for that particular meeting? What do I go in there with? Whether it's questions, whether it's what you should know about yourself, and even like we talk about goals. What are these goals that you should know?
I think we all understand how busy your managers are often in the workplace. So when they've put in an hour, you wouldn't want to get there and start mumbling and talking about things that are not aligned to your career, right? So I think first and foremost is usually the first phases are the questions. The questions of trying to understand, getting more information. At that point, you don't know much. You have to first accept the fact that you don't know much. You are there for the institutional knowledge. You are there for the industrial knowledge. So you have to really go there with the questions of, how did you get here? How long have you been here? What are the red tapes? What are the challenges? How is this industry set up? Those are the general conversations that break the ice and allow us to understand each other and break they form the relationship. Then we build on that as time goes. But you can't go there and be unprepared in terms of timing, in terms of not respecting people's times. That's why I said the soft skills that she spoke about are very key in this environment. To say you respect people's times, be punctual, come there with the mission and understanding what you want to actually get out of this conversation. You don't get there, mumble, and not understand exactly what you're going to spend an hour about, asking relevant questions as well. Speak to your career, speak to your dreams, your goals, whatever you want to achieve. But those pre-questions needs to be there before you actually enter those sessions.
Yeah.
Every session must have an end goal. You can't have unmeasurable sessions.
Yeah. And what would you advise, once I found my mentor, they've agreed, what would you advise from my side in terms of frequency of check-ins with them? And then also maybe just as a first, how do I first approach? Is it email or is it in person? And especially considering the context of if one of these learners go into, let's say, a company like Liberty, and they're going in there as an actuary, and it's a huge company, but you've identified this person because you've seen them in meetings. How do you actually approach them? And after that, what is the frequency of check-ins and stuff?
I'd advise that in terms of approach, linkage. I mean, when you come into an organization, you're either introduced to the HR team, you're introduced to certain team leaders. You might be familiar with someone as soon as you get to an organization. It's impossible that you are there and you do not know anyone. But you might not have the direct link with a certain individual in an organization, but you have to contact the next person and ask, hi, Libby, how do I speak to the next person? Can you open that door for me? So relationships are very key, especially within private sectors where you don't have the opportunity to meet people in corridors and have small chats, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, what was the second question again?
Just now that somebody has agreed to mentor me, what should the frequency be in terms of check-ins? And then also when I go into what am I prepared with to tell them?
The frequency was, I'd say bug them. Again, senior people are always busy. They do not have time and they will not put time on your behalf unless they're forced to.
Yeah.
So bug as much as you can and send mails if necessary. If they've given you numbers, call, frequency, even every other week. Just find out, hey, are we still meeting up for a lunch on Friday? Are we still meeting up for this and that? You have to bug them. Honestly speaking, your messages are going to fall within cracks. Your mails will fall within cracks. They're always caught up with a lot of things. So that you have to be the one that actually pushes that on their side. And in terms of preparation, depending on what you want to understand from the mentee, right? From the mentor, right? If you are there trying to understand how to grow within the industry, you like I said, you have to have certain objectives of what exactly do you want out of this session. I can't say you get there and discuss how to get a better salary as your first conversation. Perhaps you would ask, how do I navigate the space that I'm in? The politics of work, the issues that you generally face at the workplace. But you have to understand where you are, with the next stage of where you need to go. So those are, for me, would be the key steps that you take as an individual.
Thank you so much. Fiona, as you run the Accelerator program, what have been some of the faux pas? So now Patu has told us these are some of the things that you go in prepared with. What have been some of the things that you have seen that people either do or they don't do, which they should be doing? It's just watch out for these 3 things that you've seen you know, I don't know, it might be a time thing. Like, you know, people are just never on time, and that's just like not on. But what are things that you've progressively, as you've been in this accelerator program, see people do that you would just, you know, caution against?
Okay, I'm going to ask that question in two ways, if you don't mind, because I'm going to share a personal experience of mentoring myself, if that's okay. I lived in the UK for many, many years, and I worked in an organization that was very male-dominated, older men, and I was a younger woman coming up in the organization. And they were very intimidating, and it was very much old boys club, very difficult to make an impact. And I felt very intimidated by that. And I joined a mentorship program, and I got allocated probably the worst mentor that I ever could imagine, because he was everything that terrified me about the organization. He was very, very senior. He was a man that had been in the industry for 40 years. He was very unapproachable in his way of dealing with things. And I learned so much from that mentor. So you know, to get yourself over the barrier of what you've set in your mind, because it was all in my mind, it was my barriers, it was my concerns. And by engaging with this man and having an open conversation and being able to open myself up to learning, I learned a huge amount. And I can honestly say that that elevated my career significantly, because it challenged my biases. So when you talk about what should you do or what have I seen that people do badly, the first one is go with an open mind. You know, challenge those limitations that you've set. We all have limitations. We all have an inner narrative that shuts doors. So make sure you understand what that inner narrative is, and make sure that you challenge that, and don't let it derail you. The second thing is, and I think we've already talked about that, respect the person's time, respect the conversation by being prepared, being on time, being ready, and being knowledgeable about what it is that you want to get out of that conversation. Nothing is off limits. So don't think if I'm going to go and talk to somebody because they've agreed to mentor me, I must now talk about my specific career or educational piece or something like that. You know, that person's here to give you a helping hand. So come with the questions that you genuinely want to ask, and ask those questions. Be brave. And then my final point is, I've had people over my career ask me to be their mentor, and I've often said yes, of course, I'm very happy to help. But it's not my responsibility to manage that mentee's time with me.
Yeah.
So I'll say yes, and then the person will disappear. Because there's an expectation that I am going to step aside and say, okay, now let me set it up on your behalf, and let's put calls in, and let's do the things. That's not my job. My job is to give you that mentorship and to be there and to support. So if you do get a yes from someone, then take it seriously, and then actually speak to that person. How would you like to engage? What's the best way for us to communicate? Is there a time or a place that works better for you? Online, face-to-face? You know, create an environment and check with that person what's going to work, and then take the responsibility for driving that conversation.
Thank you so much, Fiona. I think what I've heard you and Patu talk about is just the power of preparation.
Absolutely.
What do they say? Preparation and what? When they meet, your destiny comes into effect. I can't remember. Oprah would be so disappointed in me right now. But anyway, Ausonika, you spoke about having to go in. You've done the whole mentorship thing from like a cyclical way, from people who are going in, and then you empower them to be able to mentor others. Could you tell us about a success story of somebody who actually came in through your program, and now you're seeing them mentor other people, and it's just feeding into itself?
I have too many success stories.
Okay.
So from a point of mentorship, I think I have been very successful in mentoring people all the way to entrepreneurship. I want to introduce something else in terms of mentoring.
Yes.
And I want a young man called Mr. Zwanga to stand up. And I want to use him because I want us, because I'm an entrepreneur, to start talking about mentoring through protege strategy.
Yeah.
Because The protege strategy says we are mentoring people to take over the work that we do. We are not only mentoring for career purposes only. And there's a young man that I took from the university, mentored him through actual working for me, then identifying him to become a protege to take over the CEO of AGSA.
Yay!
Bringing him into my office, teaching him exactly what I do so that when I'm not there, he's able to do that. So that model is where you start looking into mentorship beyond just career development. It's where you say, if you look in South Africa, for example, there's so many jobs that we can do. Not everyone would find a job. We need to start mentoring people to be able to do their own businesses. I've been able to interact with a number of young people here. They have products. Some are researching great products. Our facilitator today, she told me she's putting together a dermatitis kind of product. And there is where I come in as a mentor, because I can mentor her to be a businesswoman.
Yeah.
So mentorship successes are based on what you as a mentor as well would like to see the mentee achieve. And then in terms of the mentees, what I would say is, tell me exactly what you want to achieve. And it is very difficult for young people to tell you what they want to do. If I say to you, I hear you've spent 7 years studying, but exactly what do you want to do? Because mentorship links the network as well. And the network, we can only link you to the people we know when we actually understand what you want to do. So it's very important that when you are mentoring for success, to create, I always say I want to create millionaires. That's what I want to do. You need to then follow up that the person actually reaches that goal. And with him, I've reached that goal. It's not only him, there's a lot of them, but I'm just using him as an example today of my successes in the business world.
I have a question. Is he a millionaire yet?
Yes.
Really? Khosana, just one last question for us. You spend a lot of the time with the community. So you spend a lot of the time hearing what the young people are struggling with, what their challenges may be, whether it's going in or about to leave, tertiary. They're going in and what they're about to leave. What are some of the challenges that I think organizations should be aware of, especially with women and men who may be coming from like underprivileged backgrounds, who may not have a clear, full picture of what corporate looks like, what mentorship looks like, and what would you then say to organizations and being able to empower them to be able to identify the right individuals and also letting them know what are the challenges that are faced or, perceived as challenges by young people?
Is it for
That's
me?
for you.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to use the term support. And I'm going to expand on this term support. So the S stands for, also we need to set realistic objectives for the young graduates, right? And so that they are able to also, contribute with their skill that they have learned within that particular environment. And the U standing for, we also need to understand the needs of the young graduates. And, we need to conduct surveys and really speaks to, the professional analysis of that particular graduate coming to join the particular company. So P will be standing for, we need also to pair them strategically so that, like she said, she's not mentoring people just for the sake of mentorship. But she's mentoring them to prepare them to take over.
Yeah.
And in the process of taking over, we can't do it haphazardly without putting the necessary system and without also implementing the leadership excellence towards it. Because one of the things that the young professionals should do is to distract their industries with innovation. You don't have to feel sorry about it, or you don't have to shrink because someone else who's your superior does not want to grow. You do it in cold and in hot season. So I think the P will be now to provide the necessary training, to support them to grow into the level that we want them to be. And then the O will be now, to offer, resources to them, the kind of the resources that they need, to flourish. And then I think the R will be now to recognize also the achievements, to celebrate, young professionals as and when they achieve milestones within the industries that they are in. And the last one will be to track progress. Because we don't rejoice when things are well. Or we don't just sit because we've got the systems right, we've got the frameworks right, we've got all those objectives right, but we need to track progress. And when we track progress, I normally say to people, when we track progress, you also do a self-reflection.
Yeah.
Right? You commit to your call as a young professional. You take a total responsibility. And when you take a total responsibility, provision will be granted. So where there's no provision in your profession or as a young professional, it means you're not taking a responsibility somewhere. But if you can take a responsibility, provision, it will be granted. It will be a non-negotiable thing. And I'm not saying it from the place of being a privileged as the chief, but I'm saying it from the place of, I've had an experience of going to vets as a student, and I was not treated as a chief. I was expected to submit results. When I was doing my research, they did not even say, no, he's the chief, let's be, nice to this research paper. No, it's a mandatory thing. You take a total responsibility so that provision can be granted.
Thank you.
Can I go
I
home?
think that was advice for organizations, but also everybody else in the room as well. Just coming, excuse me. Just coming back to the accountability, especially at ESCOM. I'm wondering, so there's a lot of the people in the room are in health sciences. That's not necessarily my assumption, this is what I know. And now the energy sector is so positioned for growth, beyond growing within ESCOM or within, I heard Khosana just talking about unboxing yourself as well. I think for myself, some of my experiences, I came out as a journalist and I thought, that's it. I can be a journalist and maybe a PR person. But with the qualification that you get from here and some of the skills that you get from here, looking at energy as a sector, what would you advise the ladies and the gentlemen in this room to be thinking about? Even if it's getting another degree in something else that aligns to energy, solar, wherever, just so that they are future-proof and not necessarily just thinking about becoming a leader, but actually thinking about becoming a broad, comprehensive leader.
Okay. Hey, Buffett. All right. In the energy space, as we all know, there's a lot of things that is happening now. And what I like about sciences is that no matter where you go, force is still force. Whether it's a push or pull and so forth. So we all have the basic principles in terms of sciences. It remains the same. And I would say you might not even have to go and get another qualifications because we are so aligned. I've got a sister who's a doctor. At times we talk about, the same things, whether even if I'm a mech-eng and she's in medicine, we end up somewhere where we say work is equals to force times displacement. We come together. So what I would advise is that the market is opened.
in terms of energy. There is solar, there is hydrogen these days, there is wind, you know, and those are the things that we did in our grade 12 science class. So it doesn't need some kind of a degree. However, I would say, most importantly, there's a lot of companies that are now giving, you know, short courses on the new developments, a whole lot. I attended a seminar at Gibbs where they were actually talking about, you know, all these developments that are happening and how you can actually just bridge the gap from where you are, even if it's just needing an extra cash and so forth. It's not a complex system. So open yourself up, look at those seminars, look for people that are in those industries and partner with them, collaborate with them. Because collaboration these days, that is the way of life. There's no way that you will get anywhere without collaboration. So collaborate with those people that are in there. And I can tell you one thing, my fellow brothers and sisters, information is out there and we are willing to give it to everyone for free. So you don't have to actually pay for so many things. So yeah that will be my stance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is once you get into these organizations, find out what resources they have available to you. Find out what other educational courses you can take and how you can grow yourself once you are in there. It's not necessarily that you have to get the qualification before you get into the organization.
Correct.
Thank you so much. And then we're just going to end it with you, Yoli. I think some of the things that you mentioned was just like the client that you work with. Some of them come from underprivileged backgrounds, previously underprivileged backgrounds. I think I just want to understand, what are some of the lies that we tell ourselves that hold us back from either asking for mentorship or asking for growth? What are just some of the things that you see holding your clients back from getting or proactively going after the growth from a mentoring or coaching perspective?
Yeah, confidence can take one a long way. If you don't believe in yourself, it's going to take a very difficult task for somebody to believe in you. So the first thing is you need to know yourself very well. You need to be honest with yourself, and you need to have belief and faith in what you can do. A lot of the lies that I see, you know, young black people tell themselves is that I'm not worth it. We set the bar quite low in terms of either jobs that we want to apply for, promotions at work, entrepreneurship. Because sometimes we haven't seen somebody do it, we will always limit our belief to that it's not possible. And it doesn't have to resonate with you in terms of you seeing it from somebody else. If you want it for yourself, you should be able to go and get it for yourself.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't come from a family of business-minded people. And I'd never grown up and seen somebody else actually go out and wanting a business.
Yeah.
But the fact that I myself know I was in a predicament where I said, I can tell I'm not built for corporate, and I like advisory. And the belief in myself to be able to say, what do I want? And actually there's a number of things I want. I have plan A up to plan D. Map out your options, face it until plan A, plan B works, right? So a lot of the times I see we limit our beliefs in ourselves, and that shows and comes across when somebody else is speaking to you. I want to also piggyback on the question you asked her. A lot of the times we study for degrees that we either were not very confident of going into them, either fell in love with them, or fell out of love with them whilst we were in the degree. Don't give up. I think more than the theoretical knowledge you walk away with from a degree, you also walk away with certain competencies that can be applied in another job. I'm personally studying for something different to what I am doing, And I can tell you that you can land yourself in any other job based on the competencies and skill sets that you have. We often downplay on being analytical, being able to spot an error from a mile away. But that is the number one key skill that I see in many other jobs that we have. And I could mention many other competencies and skills. It takes self-belief, it takes knowing yourself, and it takes pushing yourself in order to realize what you truly want to do. And it doesn't have to look like anything anyone has ever done. It needs to look like what you envision your future to be.
Thank you. And one last question before we end it. I know we're over time, but you came on and you mentioned the difference between mentorship and coaching. And I also think there's a difference between mentorship, finding a mentor, finding an advocate, and finding a sponsor.
Yeah.
Maybe if anybody on here, if you're comfortable with taking that question, mentorship, advocacy, and sponsorship. Patu.
I think I'll speak on advocacy because I believe most time that's what I am at the organization, right?
Yeah.
It's about having the knowledge of knowing how to get around the organization. So when I know your capabilities and skills and where you want to go, I'm able to speak for you and sort of drive you to your direction. Mentor-wise, I think I'll hand it over to my other colleagues. But in terms of advocacy, is the ability of finding somebody that can have a voice for you in your absence, right? You are able to identify a person who's capable of, speaking for you in regards to your career growth, your succession plans, those kind of things. There are people that mimic these things in small conversations, and you can pick and say, this is the one that I pick for advocacy. I'm not so much of a great mentor, but I might be able to get your conversation to the next level without getting you into trouble.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that your progression is not necessarily just determined by a mentor. You can actually identify somebody within the organization who can be your advocate in rooms where you are not. And that then means showing up. That means, doing the work, them seeing you do the work, them seeing you show up early, them seeing you raise your hand, be brave, and all of that. And that's the person that they might not mentor you. They might not be taking you on the whole road, holding your hand, but they will have your name in their mouth in rooms that you might not be in.
Correct.
And then there are sponsors. Yeah, Fiona.
Add something slightly controversially, maybe, but I like to be slightly controversial, so my apologies. I think the role of a mentor is a very important one, and it's a very special relationship between you, a mentee and a mentor. But mentorship comes, and advocacy and sponsorship and all of these things come in so many different ways and so many different forms in our life. So what I would say is don't put all your money on this fact that you need a mentor. And if I haven't got a mentor, I'm not going to get somewhere, or I need to understand exactly what a mentor is and exactly how I get that relationship. I mean, fantastic if you get it. But as I say, I think I've had one mentor in my life, and I'm now the chief executive of a business. It's not something that you have to have to get somewhere. And the advocacy and the sponsorship and the answers and the guidance and all those little nuggets of information are out there. And there's a lot of people that are going to be prepared to help you along the way. So again, when I say controversial, all I'm saying is it's a fabulous thing, and please look for it in life. But don't put all your eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
Anytime you get an opportunity to speak to someone, ask the questions that you want to know. And I think you'll probably mostly, 99% of the time, get a positive response.
Thank you, everyone. This has been, yes, please, give everybody a hand. This has been such an interesting conversation. I think it has highlighted various things. Firstly, that mentorship doesn't always have to be formalized. It can be informalized. There's some responsibility that lies on you as the mentee to identify somebody you think would be able to grow you. I think there's also just a matter of awareness. Don't get into a particular place and stop asking questions. Stay inquisitive. Be aware of opportunities that may lie beyond just what you do. There was also just a point around innovation and innovating and not boxing yourself up and finding different ways to do your role. Be brave. That is one of the things that I heard across. And then going with an open mind, be prepared, disrupt with innovation, seek support, seek the resources, look for ways to collaborate with people, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, ask for feedback, and then also just make sure that you yourself are documenting your progress so you know how far you are from the destination. Because even though you know where the destination is, there might be other milestones that you might be hitting. Just know that you are on the way. So I think that was such an informative conversation. And thank you so much to all the speakers who are here for just pouring into all of us, giving us your insights, and we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I don't know if there are any questions. Maybe we'll take 3, 4, we'll make it quick. Sorry, does anybody have to go quickly? We'll do 3. Sorry, there's a hand there. Sorry, excuse me, Kamo. There we go. Ooh, I'm seeing myself on a large screen. I'm not wearing earrings. Nobody told me. I don't have friends here. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Good afternoon to the panel as well. My question is related in particular to someone who's creative or someone who could potentially be labeled as someone who's extremely innovative, someone whom people might not have an easy time understanding. For such a person, let's say they're introverted, they do not know how to market themselves properly to people. And they've seen the importance or the significance of having a mentor in their lives, but most of the mentors have a problem communicating properly with that person or getting along with them, not because they are disrespectful in any way, but because they have a hard time comprehending the internal reality to everyone else. I wanted to ask how such a person would be dealt with. I remember Ms. Onika spoke of switching the mentors, like giving the person a new mentor. I'm not sure if it was her or not, but should it be the case that most people that come really don't understand that person? How do you deal with them? Yeah, that's my question.
Can I just get clarity on your question? So you're saying that if someone is more creative, might not be as analytical as everybody else.
No, they are analytical, but introverted. Right?
Integrating them.
Introverted.
Introverted,
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, how do mentors deal with that person, or how does the introverted person?
No, how do the mentors, because they spoke mostly about mending the gap in between, let's say, academia, getting to the workplace, and also mending relationships between the mentors and the mentees. But what if the mentee is a problem, but not because they're disrespectful or want to be, but because they have a difficulty and their ideas might not necessarily be digested by the people who are mentoring him. Like, they're so creative that they think their ideas are not good enough because they are too far ahead of the modern world.
I think I hear it. Does anybody want to take this question? Yeah, there we go, Ms. Onika.
What I'm sensing, and this is very important for young people, is I don't know if he's referring to himself as just a general question, but he's already boxed himself to be an introvert. And the moment you've already defined that I'm an introvert, you are putting barriers to your learning. So I think where we have to start is really supporting that person to understand that being an introvert should not be a barrier towards being mentored. Because you are being mentored for certain things, you are not being mentored for your personality. While you are being mentored, we can work through you being an introvert. I've seen people who never said 3 words when they entered my institution today, running departments. So what mentorship would provide such a person is that we then identify what are the barriers. And most of the times the barriers are not the skills. It's a personality barrier. Then we need to go around that personality to make sure that you can direct that person when you are mentoring them to take out the best out of that person. So, but it's very important that you don't use your personality as a barrier to achieving your goals.
Yeah.
That's how I would respond. Yeah.
And there was
Can
another
I-
question this side. Oh, there we go. Okay, we won't forget. Oh, two here.
It's okay.
Yes.
Afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for such a diverse panelist. So my question is actually for the labor guy. You mentioned having multiple mentors. So my question is on how can I actually balance advice from multiple mentors?
Sorry to disturb you. Could we just get some more sound from that mic? Is it possible? We're just struggling a little bit. I don't know if it's just myself. Should we switch off the fan?
Why?
Or is it just I've got an outside voice? Maybe let's use our outside voice.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay.
How much?
We can't hear.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So, how can I balance advice from multiple mentors in the same industry, especially if their guidance conflicts?
If the guidance of different mentors is conflicting, how do you then balance what you're getting? And these people are in the same industry.
And then I have a second question.
Only one. And then the other one you can ask as they go off, just so that we can also allow other people to ask questions.
I believe that they go hand in hand.
All right. That's the bravery we were talking about, yes?
All right, thank you. So this one is for actually the Dr. Chief. So how do issues like imposter syndrome affect women, especially in male-dominated fields, and what interventions are most effective? Because you mentioned that you have a platform where you include first and final years, where you have Coffee with Dr. K. So in that instance, how then do you navigate the imposter syndrome for women to actually show up in their fields?
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, she's a health student, right? I'm an educational side.
No. What student are you?
And then what's that? Okay, I'm not answering you. I'm not gonna answer you. Thank you. Next question. I'm done.
No, she's saying she's not in the health. She's not a health student.
So why are you screaming? I'm not gonna answer. Thank you. Thank you, panelist, moderator.
Okay. And then there was a question around multiple mentors in conflict. Aus Onika is speaking.
The multiple mentorship is again the symptom that she was describing. Why do you need so many mentors for the same thing?
Yeah.
She says she's had one, I've had one, and I've been a successful person. We are not saying you don't need multiple, but if you are going to go for multiple, I suggest that they might be for different things, spiritual, health, but in terms of your career, try to have one and change as you move towards career. So for example, if you are starting and you need a mentor to take you through your entry in terms of employment, that's fine. If you then find that you are now an executive and you need executive mentorship, move. You say thank you to the one that you had before. But you can't have 3 people supporting you for the same thing. It doesn't make any sense. That would be my advice to you.
Thank you, Ausonika.
All right, thanks.
Let's go to that gentleman over there quickly.
Good afternoon,
Afternoon.
Dr. Tsepole Chaba. My question is just mostly, and I want to match it with one of the topics that they spoke around, especially around patents. that you normally get from universities and all that. And often you'd find out that there's always mentorship programs which are academic and non-academic. And I want to ask my honorable chief, you mentioned that normally there's programs that you run through with first years and the final years. And my question is there a reason why is it first years and final years? And also at what level? Because most of the patents that you are getting out there, they are coming from, your postgraduate students. And also that in terms of mentorship, and it goes to any other panel members, how can we, at a community level, I'm speaking in terms of community engagement. Our students, most of them, especially within the science, are not exposed to real life situations that you encounter in the community in terms of issues that we are facing, be it in terms of non-communicable diseases, be it in terms of water, be it in terms of cholera, so forth and so forth. So how do we then get to tap into the programs that the panel members are involved in so that our students get exposure? And I'm more interested also to understand, can't we involve other years? Because there's a high rate of dropouts, not happening at first year level or final year level, but in between. How do we then also engage to make sure that we guard an African child against these dropouts and so forth? Thank you very much.
I'm going to summarize it as, well, let's take the first part of that question, just in terms of why at the beginning and at the end. What happens to the people who are in the middle? And then I would just encourage that let's maybe pose that question. I think, Hosana, you're going to be around for 5 minutes, Nyana?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Please.
I think the first question is, the reason why I'm particularly looking at the first years and the last year students. These are students, maybe I forgot to mention, these are students that we are funding at the university. So we then want to get to understand, the challenges that they are faced with during their first year of learning, because we would normally host these coffees towards the end of the year, or towards towards the end of their first year at the varsities.
Yeah.
And we just want to get their perspective from as a new students in the university. And mainly the reason why we also concentrate on the last year students, not because during their course of learning we don't give them the necessary support, but I'm mainly concerned with the final year students, so that that assists us also as traditional leaders to create a space for them to actually come and contribute towards our Vision Plan 2035. So the Royal Bafokeng Nation it's built in so many entities. We've got the Royal Bafokeng Holdings in Melrose Arc, which looks and supports the resources. How can we now, protect our resources and also monetize the land into benefiting us even in the future run. We've got, the Royal Bafokeng Institution, which deals with the economic, which deals with the human development aspect of the nation. So the last year students, we then position them according to the sectors that we have within the Royal Bafokeng Nation in terms of how can they also come and contribute to it, because we don't want to fund students to go to universities, then after they are unemployed. So the reason why I'm focusing at the last year students, and we do it at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of their last year, so that we've got a lot of time to also plan how are we going to accommodate them to actually bring the skills that we need to achieve our Vision 2035. And I think the second one is fine. I'm willing to engage with him after this. I can be here for the next coming, for the extra 30 minutes to engage with him. Yeah.
Thank you. And last question, thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to ask, as a mentee, how can I go about setting or establishing boundaries between me and my mentor in the event where I have a male mentor?
Can I ask you a question before they answer it?
Yes.
What is your definition of boundaries? What are boundaries meant to do for you, and what are boundaries meant to do for your mentor?
For me, there's some things that I don't tolerate. Yes.
Are you the mentor or the mentee?
I'm the mentee.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just don't want to offend my mentor.
Okay.
Yes, so
All
I
right.
want to find a way in which I can respectfully set those boundaries.
All right then. Okay.
Thank you.
The reason why I was asking about boundaries is that sometimes we miss what a boundary actually is. A boundary is actually for self to know what you are willing to do, how far you're willing to go. And I think sometimes if you're able to communicate that at the beginning of anything, who you are, what your ability is, what your willingness is, that's already setting a boundary. But maybe if you want to add to that.
All right.
Asma.
Yeah, I think I've got four mentors. 3 are male, and then one it's a lady. And okay, I'm a straight talker. So the first meeting I have with my mentor is talking about me and the boundaries, you know. And what is important is you don't have to actually hide who you are when you go into a mentor-mentee relationship. It's important. I wanted to touch on something that I'm not comfortable with. I'm not comfortable with somebody sitting too close to me. So I made it very clear. I'm not comfortable with a person sitting too close to me. I'm comfortable with, you know, giving me as space, and you know that gets respected. So I think it's very important that you just speak and just say, these are my boundaries, this is what I'm not comfortable with, and you take it from there. And I think if you have mentors that are matured, they should not have a problem with you saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm not comfortable with, and then they will really respect that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, oh, okay. One more. Sorry.
We have an online question from one of our viewers. It's from Relebohile Mabusela. She says to CEO Oneka of AGSA, how do I go about the process of volunteering in one of your departments, specifically in marketing and communications?
How do you go about?
How do I go about the process of volunteering in one of the departments?
Knowledge sharing.
Yes, volunteering.
Okay. Knowledge sharing.
Knowledge sharing.
Volunteering.
Oh, volunteering.
Volunteering in marketing or communications.
Okay. How do I go about finding an opportunity to volunteer?
Yes.
Okay, so I think you do your research, you identify the organizations that you want to volunteer with. You find out the person to be able to talk to there through the correspondence that is relevant. You might have to call or to find out who it is if they are not there in their website. You then either request a meeting or you're sending an email making your wishes known that you would like to volunteer. So remember, volunteering is different from internship programs. And I found that when I was discussing with a number of people, they confuse those two. Where you are volunteering, it's a bit different. So the organization has a right to say, we don't take volunteers. But when we are talking internship programs, those programs are intended where we already talk to the organizations. We make the program clearly well known that there are these opportunities. You can get a marketing person. So we now become the person in between to negotiate for you to go into the organization to get that work experience. Meanwhile, if you are volunteering, you will have to do that work on your own, and they may not be able to pay anything towards the time at all. I hope I answered it the way you want it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This person was asking specifically to your company, like how do they volunteer in your company?
They want to come and volunteer in my company.
Yes.
Okay.
They want to be a millionaire.
Okay, if they are finished with their program, they can contact us. I mean, we have a stand outside. They can talk to our marketing manager, to Ms. Sang. She's here for the 3 days. They must go there and say, I'm the one who is saying a volunteer.
Yeah.
And we'll take it up from there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much to the panel. Yay.
Oh my goodness. Can they switch this off so I can whisper in your ear?
Amazing, right? That was amazing. I hope all your questions are answered. Now, the moment that you guys have been waiting for, the Career Speed Connect. How many people were looking forward to the Career Speed Connect today? Only 2. Maraki Lutli, guys. Even those that are online want to hear you. How many of you are ready for the Career Speed Connect today? Woo! No, don't worry, guys. You see, oh, okay. Now, before I announce what you guys were expecting, let us just quickly allow them to take a group photo.
You must be inside because you are short. Yeah.
Can we please just give our wonderful speakers, sponsors, and panelists a warm round of applause? Now, guys, one thing I love about Job for Billions is that we promise to deliver. On Saturday, we promise to give you guys not just an amazing time, but also knowledge that you guys can use in any of the streams that you guys are taking, knowledge that you can use in entrepreneurship, and also just to motivate you to be innovators as well. So even with the Career Speed Connect, we promise to deliver. However, because we are governed by policies, right? We're governed by policies, and there are some HR policies that do not allow us to have a Speed Connect without students going through, or candidates rather, going through the proper procedure. So what's going to happen is that Monday, we know it's block week for those that are still in undergrad. What's going to happen that on Monday, every single person that has registered, and this is why we needed you guys to register, every single person that has registered, you will be sent a link, and that will be your psychometric assessment. Now, upon completing your psychometric assessment, you will get notified immediately once you're done. Did I make it? Did I not make it? Right? That you can also go into the exam, Uli, not this thing of stressing, yo, what if 50, 60, am I going through what's happening? So immediately after you complete your psychometric assessment, you'll be notified whether you have made it through the next round of the process or not. And the psychometric assessment is going to be closed on Sunday the 20th. So you guys have 7 days. Please, let us not procrastinate. In fact, do it and finish it on Monday. Don't wait for the last day. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. So immediately after that, because of exams, I know it's not just postgraduate students, but we have a number of undergraduate final year students that are also going to be participating in this. And I mean, we care for you guys. We don't want you guys to be writing exam, about zoology and other things while you are expecting or wanting to go to the next stage of the interviewing and so forth. So what will happen is that after the examinations have passed and you have gone through to the next stage, that's when the respective company is going to contact you, and you guys will set up a meeting, whether it be virtual or you decide to go and pay them a visit at their company. So we will provide, right? And for today, I think we can close it here, and we can come back tomorrow really freshy, really happy. And I'd like to admonish you guys that tomorrow, call your friends to come. We're going to be speaking more about innovation and funding. Now, funding in terms of starting businesses. We're going to be talking about skills development, who to contact, who to go to if you want to develop certain skills to go in a certain industry. For those of you that would like to bridge to a more technological or to the insurance space or to the financial industry and you're a BSc student, registration starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. registrations and tea, and 10 a.m. we're going to kickstart with our amazing program. So that is it from us to you today. Even those of you that are watching us on your TV, go and get some rest. Tomorrow, come up with your energy and all the questions that you have when it comes to funding, innovation, and skills development. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Yes, give yourself a round of applause.